What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Logic Bomb Podcast, episode 4. Joining me, as always, is Zeronic and Prodigio Pete. And we have a bit of bad news for you. This will be the last episode before the Invitational, which is going to be one of the topics today. We're going to be talking about the Invitational. We're going to be talking about some map reworks in year 5. What reworks would we like to see come to Rainbow Six Siege in year 5, and we're also going to be talking a little bit about some quiz stuff that Pete has ready for us. That'll be another thing that we do this episode. It was really popular a couple episodes ago when Pete had a quiz for us, so he has another one prepared for us. We're going to be doing that, and we don't really know what it's about or anything right now, but I guess before we get into the map reworks, let's take a moment here and just, I want to thank everybody, because so far, like, the reception that we've gotten from this podcast so far has been outstanding. I think I've been really touched by the feedback that people have given of us. There's been some really fair, constructive criticism in there that we really appreciate. And there's also been some people who have, said that they really appreciate it. It's helping them get through their workday. And I don't know. I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. What are you guys thinking so far about how the podcast is going and the feedback from it so far?
I've been blown away, actually. Obviously, because we've launched this on a new channel, I couldn't have in my wildest dreams thought it would have gone so well so quickly. I think we've already got over 6,000 subscribers. At the point of recording this, the last episode was, it's around 30,000 views. And sometimes as a sort of content creator, you can be a bit sort of nervous about talking about stuff like that, because people could misunderstand that you're talking about, maybe money or stuff like that. But it's literally got nothing to do with that. I mean, just the way that it's gone in 3 weeks has just completely blown me away. And I'm just really grateful for everyone for tuning in, and hopefully we can continue to do, something that interests people in the Rainbow Six Siege community.
I'm just excited about how smooth it's been to start. Sure, there's some technical stuff we still have to work on. We are aware of the delays. We were actually talking about that just before we started recording, or I guess the synchronization issues with video and audio. And we'll make sure to get that fixed. I think we have a plan of how we're going to do that. But I think we both, or all of us, take a little bit of pride in trying to hold production quality as high as possible. We want to try to see if we can get some exclusive content for you guys, get some interesting characters on the podcast. The fact that our first guest was Parker was amazing. It was really fun. Hoping to get, devs, bigger content creators, everything on in the future. I think one of the podcasts we talked about, we want to bring like artists on, cosplayers, stuff like that. Give a little bit of a recognition to everyone in the community, and yeah, I'm happy people want to listen to 3 old guys just moaning about life and Siege.
I think that's the thing, hopefully we're trying to cover all the bases a little bit. With, obviously, we have the esports segment, but we also cover general news, but also the sort of in-depth discussion, which should be a big feature of the podcast. And hopefully we're achieving that. But that's something that we're very conscious of as well, that we are trying to, there's a massive Rainbow Six Siege community out there. You've got the esports players that are training and playing maybe 40, 50 hours a week. And obviously it's ironic, that's a scene that you're in and you understand really deeply as an analyst. But also you've got the casual gamers, perhaps a bit more like me, that play 2 or 3 evenings a week and maybe once on the weekend. So we're trying to be a resource for all of those people, not just for information, but hopefully some fun as well along the way.
Really just all I want to say is thank you to everybody who's reached out and been, giving us encouragement. As a creator, it's always, I don't care how long you've been doing this or how big your following is. Anytime you're putting yourself out there, especially with a new project, there is a little bit of nerves, and you hope that it's well received. So for everybody who has been very supportive of the project so far, I really appreciate it. And we're just getting started. We're going to keep going and keep improving. So with that said, let's get into our first topic today, and that is going to have to do with map reworks in year 5. So we don't know anything about what maps are going to be reworked, if maps are going to be reworked, how many new maps are coming next season. I don't know anything about any of that. Okay, so what we're going to talk about is what each of us would want as far as map reworks next year. And I don't. Do either of you guys want to start out here with kind of what your wish list is as far as map reworks or buffs? Okay, and that's a good. Are you going to differentiate between map reworks and buffs? Are you kind of lumping them all into the same thing? You know, how do we want to go about it here?
I'm going to differentiate. Just what I've done is I've picked 4 maps, one for each season, and what I've tried to do is, I mean, like, it would be incredibly easy just to go, well, let's do Favela, let's do Yacht, let's do Bartlett, you know, let's do, you know, because that would just be the easiest thing, to pick the 4 least competitive maps, the most casual maps, and say, hey, let's get 4 of them into Rainbow Six Siege. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I've tried to take a sort of more pragmatic approach, whereas I know that Ubisoft are really unlikely to pick 4 maps that are so far away from being competitive and fully rework them. So I've kind of picked one that would be a full rework, so think Hereford Base, and then the others are more tweaky ones, sort of like Clubhouse. So that's been my approach, and I've picked not on see, I think you guys might put a lot of consideration into the competitive value of a map, but I think it would be disingenuous for me to do that at the level I play at. So I've sort of picked maps where when it loads up and you see the map, if it's like one where my heart sinks and I don't really want to play it, that's one that's on my rework list. Okay. So do I enjoy playing it? Is it samey, you know, and repetitive when I play it, the strats at the level I play at? So yeah, that's my and also something rang true with me about last time you and I talked about maps, and one of the things that you said was a key consideration for you as to whether a map is decent or not is the bomb sites, and whether there is opportunity to defend more than 2 bomb sites, which is probably a more high level consideration than I'm coming at it from. But I think that's important too. You know, if you're always playing the same bomb site on defense, then that detracts from the map for me.
Do you want to go ahead and go with your list, Pete, and then we'll work around that way, or? Okay.
So, all right. So, where do I start?
Putting you on the spot here.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. Anyone that's watched my content for a while will know that I'm going to go with Chalet, which I do like as a map. I think, for example, the aesthetic of the map is really kind of quite unique in Rainbow Six Siege. And there are a lot of good points about the map that I enjoy, but I feel that it could do with not a full rework, but the Clubhouse treatment, particularly to improve some of the other bomb sites on there. You've got 2 main bomb sites that are played. And actually, of one of those bomb sites for me, I actually really dislike the snowmobile garage, because I find it you could get pinned into a certain position very easily, particularly when you're playing with other people that aren't in a team or thinking about maps competitively, you know, in the sort of like gold, silver sort of range of play. And then I find, even though there's 3 staircases and there's lots of vertical movement on the map, I actually find it's quite easy to get pinned into certain positions and not be able to use some of those staircases on defense when you're trying to move around. So you can get pinned into places. So Chalet is my first one for a map buff.
Okay. What have you gone as far as to think about? Like, what do you feel like needs change with Chalet? Is it like what are the major, like, anything specific?
Not really. For some of the others, I do have some specific ideas, but I think I would like some changes around the snowmobile garage would be quite nice. Maybe a sort of buffer room around there, and maybe something that doesn't limit the range of movement so much, so that if you're playing a mirror in the wine cellar area, looking out towards the garage, you don't always get pinned because one of your teammates isn't watching the back stairs. I just would like a little bit more range of movement down there, and then something else to make the other bomb sites viable, because obviously you've got the kitchen. What is it? Kitchen. What's the second one?
What, as far as
kitchen
sites?
Trophy?
Kitchen trophies. You've got master bedroom, and then you've got library games.
Which is probably my only one that I quite enjoy defending, but I would like more than that and snowmobile. Make the other ones a bit more viable.
Well, Chalet, spoiler alert, Chalet's on my list as well. So if it's okay with you guys, we can talk a little bit about, do you recognize any major problems with Chalet, Zeronic? Like, what would you change?
I think Chalet is, so I have a very different way of looking at maps, as I'm sure people are aware of. I think maps need to be in competitive for us to be able to judge them proper, because people forget to spend time on the sites that aren't the easy or simple ones. So we don't see a meta develop. We don't see the map mature with operators that come out. We're still seeing kind of the same setups as we did years ago. I think top 4, when you think about that, there's ladder to bathroom. There's a ladder to office balcony. That's the only 2 ways you can really get up there. Then you can rappel on the outside balcony. So top 4 is theoretically from entry point. It's actually pretty strong.
It's a great point,
because you have to be on some very vulnerable spots as an attacker to push it, right? Mm-hmm. And all of these ladders are you can hold them from a window.
They're death traps.
Yeah, so you can see it as you climb up there. Then sure, you can say, well, you can ammo, you can do this and you can do that, but you're still extremely vulnerable. I think a big issue with Chalet is how we decide to play it as defenders. Everyone has to spawn peek every time. It always happens.
Yeah.
People try to roam on the opposite side of the map when we know that returns are difficult. So we make a lot of bad mistakes and just bad choices in general. Like even in Diamond, if I solo queue, even if I play in a 5-stack in Chalet, there is a lot of things that happen that shouldn't if your main goal is to win.
Yeah.
There has to be space for, messing around and having fun, of course. But I think we have to be careful with saying that a map is good or bad if we know that we're making mistakes. Some of the new operators that came out seemingly changed the map quite a lot. Kaid did a hell of a work on basement, right? Mm-hmm. Top 4, Mira. You can get an angle where you can basically see the whole library hatch all the way to fireplace by opening up a wall, and you can see both K9, the outside balcony and library at the same time from there. So operators changed that map a lot, and I think that's why it feels stagnant. Is we haven't seen anyone put a lot of work into stratting it yet. I really enjoy the map, but yeah,
it was in Pro League though.
Yes, a long time ago.
Yeah. I remember specific matches on that. I don't disagree with you, Zeronic, but I will point to one area that I would like to see tweaked, and it has to do with basically the lobby, the K9 / lobby area. One attacker sitting on K9 can really cut off a large portion of your rotates as a defender, depending on where that defender is trying to get to. And I just feel like that could use some tweaking there, whether it's removing the K9 balcony completely or something along those lines. I don't know. The other thing that I'll say, and this is frustrating as an attacker, is the 3 cameras up top. And this might seem really petty, but there are 3 cameras up top that no matter how you go about it, you're going to be on camera for a long time if you destroy all 3. You've got the one at the top west main, you've got the one at the top of library stairs, you got the one in the main lobby. And I just feel like there should be maybe 1 camera there. There should be the camera in main lobby probably, and the other 2 probably maybe shouldn't exist, or shouldn't be looking at the same stuff. I don't know. It's always felt really strange for me to try and get top floor control and be like, oh my God, did we get rid of all 3 cameras that are looking at us right now? And so I don't know, if you got somebody playing underneath with a nitro cell, it's I can be literally trying to clear those cameras as fast as possible, but it's inevitable. I'm still going to get pinged and could possibly get nitro celled from underneath by somebody if there's a really active and smart duo set up there, one on cameras, one with a nitro cell getting ready for the ping. I've always felt like that was kind of an issue, but I would throw Chalet into the rework category, into the buff category, not the rework. Mm-hmm. I think it just needs tweaked. And I agree with you, Pete. I love the aesthetic of that map. I've always been a sucker for snow maps in games. I don't know what it is about a good snow map, but I love it. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on Chalet.
What if I told you that all 3 cameras can be shot from K9?
Yeah.
Without ever entering. It in all fairness, it's really difficult, and you need to go in and practice it because it's a very specific spot. You have to wallbang the west main cam. But they can all be shot without entering the building. You're still weakened because you have to be a certain spot to do it.
Yeah.
And I do agree the map should probably have a buff.
The only the only counter I would say to that, which, I mean, I didn't know that, to be fair, so, I mean, I'm learning something here, is that defenders can shut down, can resist you taking K9 pretty easy. If you're clearing from master bedroom over, it's more the scenario that I'm thinking. Like, I'm clearing from master bedroom over, I come over, okay, I just got spotted on west main cam. Okay, I just got spotted on the main lobby cam. Okay, now I just got spotted on the library cam. But, like, I always, like, if there's a Valkyrie on board, a lot of times you're going to see, like, a doc or somebody playing an office, you know, and I don't know. I don't know. Like, the defenders can do a lot to resist K9 balcony, in my opinion. At least for you taking that initially. But yeah, no. I mean, that's definitely a good tip. What else you got on your list there, Pete?
I was going to throw this one in because I've written it down with Chalet, but I actually don't want this to be reworked or touched. But it's just a conversation around House, which is one of those maps that I think most people agree is unbalanced, but they probably wouldn't want it changed just because it's House and it's synonymous with Rainbow Six Siege. So I think that's fair enough, but I would like to throw a suggestion out there. If we get a new map this year, it might be interesting to have a more close quarter map that is kind of like House, but with more, now we know what Rainbow Six Siege is going into year 5, with a bigger thought process into making it balanced. But that being said, I'm really taking the conversation off on a sideways trip here, because I don't actually want House to be changed. But I would like, even if it was a training map that was just a kill house, you know, that's just something I wanted to throw out there. Next, then, Favela. So this is my full rework one, and when the Brazilian DLC came around, Operation Skull Rain, I was so excited for the idea of a Favela map. I think of all the maps that have ever come into Rainbow Six Siege, that's the one when I heard it was going to be Favela. It's just brought back memories of other games like Modern Warfare 2. And I thought this really has the potential for a very exciting aesthetic. And then what obviously came out was, you know, a poor map, really, particularly if you're defending. So
can I ask you a question real quick, Pete? Because I was playing the game very casually at this time. Was that map initially received poorly, or did it develop poorly over time, or both?
So this is the interesting thing, because I seem to remember the map preceding that was received quite poorly, which was Border, for the amount of destruction. People were like, Border was advertised as being the most destructible map in Rainbow Six Siege, and it was one of those things, you know, when a games publisher releases something, they have to have a marketing hype behind it. Battlefield, the biggest map ever. Rainbow Six, the most destructible map ever. One of those types of things. And conversely, Border became very popular and competitive, but I think maybe you're right, Favela did perhaps go the other way. That being said, I realised quite quickly that it was a very restrictive map to play on defense, and also I was quite surprised by the lack of vertical destruction almost straight away, going in there and testing it out. You know, you couldn't destroy the floors, you know, after having a map like Border and other maps in the base vanilla version. I think people knew Favela was an uncompetitive map quite quickly. It's still a map I enjoy playing from, or have enjoyed playing from time to time, just because there's certain positions I like to take up on attack if I am playing what was called casual quick match, which I don't really play anymore. But overall, I just think it's a wasted opportunity for a really interesting locale for a map, and doing something interesting with the verticality, because you think of how a favela is built with the different layers of housing that are sort of unstructured and not symmetrical. So they could have done something very interesting in a vertical way, but I don't think they did that at all. And it's understandable that some of these maps aren't particularly competitive, because probably Favela was designed before the game even released, before they knew how people were going to play Rainbow Six Siege, because it came out in the first year. But I think now it would be nice to see it revisited, particularly because the game is so popular as well in Brazil, Rainbow Six Siege. So it would be a cool thing for them.
So when you say a map is competitive, what metrics?
Well, I'm not
decide
using the esport metric. I'm using as I play it, as someone who plays maybe 10 hours a week. I know, for example, there are certain positions I could get with Glaz where if they don't reinforce one wall, I'm going to see from one end of the map to the other very easily. And I will probably get, in the level where I'm playing, I'll probably get 2 or 3 kills in one round just by holding this one really stupid position. But it's like a cheese spot.
So the only thing I take issue with is that a fault of the map or the players? Because I would argue we could do that on every map, and saying if a map is competitive or not when we have the same amount of rounds on each side, I don't think having a map that is immensely attacker favored, which Favela was, and it is probably one of the few maps we've ever had that was truly attacker favored, right? Because almost everything else is defender favored, and that's a fun thing to play with because teams that are really good at attacking will be much better on that map. And teams that are good at attacking will still do good on the ones where it's defender-sided, but you get a better, I don't know, you get more diverse play overall if you were to play a couple days in a week.
That's a fair point. I think I'd bring it back and change my use of words then to enjoyment. And wasted opportunity coming out of that. And there's something a bit jarring about the use of destruction on that map too.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with most of what you said there, Pete, in the sense that I guess to me, Favela, it doesn't feel like the way that the game goes on that map is what I enjoy about Rainbow Six Siege. It's tough for me to describe, you know what I mean? Because I can't think of like one necessarily scenario where I can be like, this is wrong, you know? But it just feels like whenever I play that map, the game does not go the way that I enjoy playing Rainbow Six Siege. And to Zeronic's point, that could be a fault of the map or it could be a fault of the player and the player not exploring that map in the best way.
There's some of those bomb sites. I'm thinking about that one with that. I can't, forgive me, I don't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's up there and it's got all the soft walls and then there's a hatch.
Yeah.
Yeah, the split bomb site.
Yeah.
Yes.
On the just next to drugs. Actually, it is drugs. One of them is drugs.
But you know, like I remember playing ranked on all these maps, as I'm sure you guys do too. I mean, and it, like, I do remember like when they changed the ranked map pool, just how much better of an experience the game became, in my opinion. I know that not everybody shares that opinion, but I remember playing ranked on House and Favela, and just when those maps would come up, I'm playing at that time. I was playing probably mostly in gold, and maybe it was the level I'm playing at or whatever. But I just remember when those maps would come up, it felt really cheesy to me. That's maybe the best way to describe it. Is like, you know, and some people enjoy that, some people don't, but I don't know.
And it'd be cool to have a really awesome or just a better Favela map in ranked and unranked. That'd be cool. So you get to play it again.
I think there was many interesting things with Favela that you could actually take some of the issues that Favela had and apply them to other maps to fix their issues. Outside walls that lead into bomb sites are like 50-50 if they're good or bad. I know that generally they're seen as just a terrible, terrible bad idea. But these garage sites we've had on a million different maps, like I hate House, but Basement on House was kind of fun to play. Consulate, right? Chalet. Mm-hmm. These exterior walls and in are not that bad. The problem I had with Hereford's exterior wall, the old one, and with Favela's was the distance, like the sheer distance that you could have as an attacker and the amount of stuff you could hide behind after you opened it.
Yeah.
So I remember we used to sweat on Favela. We had damn strats for it and everything, right? We would open up one of these walls. We'd have one guy repelled and one guy sitting on the roof. And now we cut off everything. Then we met one team, and all they decided to do was, you know what, we're just going to open that wall for you, and we're never going to play in there. And then you can leave your 2 people on the roof for the rest of the round, and you won't get anything. Because now we were too afraid to push up there because we needed to leave 2 people to hold it. And all of a sudden, them not reinforcing things actually messed more with us than reinforcing it. Because imagine running out to that football field, and all of a sudden everything's open. Well, not everything, but a lot of the walls are open. Mm-hmm. It becomes really hard to drone because you have to sit all the way back in spawn and drone because there's nothing you can really hide behind. ACOGs can pick you off from far away, so we end up rotating to the other side to fight it. The second you do that, there's so many places to hide cameras outside, they reinforce the walls behind us again. We're like just getting danced with by someone who instantly learns how to like abuse the, I guess the failures of the map to mess with someone else's head. It was kind of the same with Tower, right? Like no vertical destruction really messes with people.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, because an honest question: are you suggesting that Favela not be touched and even be thrown into ranked or pro league?
No. I'd look at a few buffs there, but that would mostly be removing debris and all of these. It was a very muddy map to look at. I'm sure the Emberize haters out there would really enjoy Favela back in again. They're like, you could sit anywhere with any skin and you're almost impossible to see.
Yeah, I remember
so
that.
So when you're looking outside, that's my fear.
Okay.
And all of these different tents and tops and whatever it is, like everywhere, either turn them down a little bit in color, grayscale it a little bit like Stadium, so it's a little cleaner, and then maybe give it another try with the operators we have now. Because I think a lot of the maps that are out of the pool or that we don't get to play would look a lot different if they were allowed to be played with all the operators we have now.
Yeah. Go ahead, Pete. What else you got for us?
Skyscraper.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Remind me again. What is it? I've blocked that from my memory. What is this skyscraper that you speak of?
Yeah. I'm not actually. I obviously am aware that a lot of people, for example, in Tero and a lot of people in the esports community don't like it. But for me, it's one of those maps that when it comes up, like Chalet or the other map, that I'm like, I've got to get through this now. I think sort of at the level I would imagine at the level you play, sometimes in Plat and Diamond, people can be predictable because you know what the meta is in Ranked and the operators that perhaps need to be picked to achieve certain things, and you know that will happen. Where I play, that isn't a thing so much. You can get really good variety. You could play the same map 5 times and see 5 different things because people are more willing to pick fun operators and experiment a bit more. That being said, not on Skyscraper. You see the same shit round after. You see the same shit round after round, and that's one of the reasons I've added that onto my list of maps. I think there's just something fundamentally tricky about the balcony system and runouts that probably needs to be looked at.
I call it window warfare. Skyscraper is window warfare because whether it's a run out or not, to me, it feels like 90% of your gunfights take place from outside through a window to inside. You think about the 2 most common sites, like you've got somebody sitting in karaoke and there's going to be somebody out on the balcony and there's going to be some type of a fight going on there. It could be with utility. It could be with guns. You think about the office. It's the same thing. Somebody sitting outside of both of those site windows firing through a window to people who are inside. And to me, that is just not Rainbow Six Siege. And I know that that sounds, I guess, to use a term that Parker's been using recently, that sounds really gatekeeperish for me to say what is and what isn't Rainbow Six Siege. But to me, it did not accentuate the things that I enjoy about Rainbow Six Siege.
And it's repetitive. The reason I've put it on my list is it just plays out in a very similar fashion every time I play that map, whereas the other maps have a bit more variety. So in all of the maps I'm proposing in my particular list, they're all map buffs apart from Favela, which I think would be kind of cool to just see a re-envisaging in what's the word?
I'm pretty sure that's not a word. A re-envisioning.
A re-envisioning of that map. That's a word.
Yeah, okay. Let's go with it. It's a word for us. Do you have any suggestions? What would you do? I mean, any suggestions on what you would do to that map?
So coming back to your principles, I think basically you don't see a lot of the bomb sites being picked. So maybe there could be some work on making them a little bit more viable. And I would think, again, maybe about the balconies. Maybe you could have, I don't know, you could have a buffer room or just scrap the balcony from one side and have it just as a pure rappel so that they can't stand there and fight and you can't have defenders jumping out. So you could just have a pure rappel down one side of it rather than and just remove the balcony altogether. Could be one option.
I think the map has the biggest issue with Skyscraper is that it was actually an enjoyable map when you played it 5v5 against two, like when both teams were really coordinated. It wasn't that bad. The problem is when one team is coordinated and the other one is just, they can't sit still. It's just jumping out everywhere.
Yeah.
Because it's not that difficult to win against. It's just boring to win against.
Yeah.
Because you're going to bring your Claymores, you're going to bring Nomad, you're going to bring whatever you need to get stuff open. And then you're going to dedicate 3 people to holding the jump outs, and then you win. But it's not fun. And that's my biggest issue with it, because if you do play in 2 good 5 stacks, like back when that game or that map was in comp, it was actually not that bad to watch games on Skyscraper.
Dude, I was just thinking about that. 2 years ago at the Invitational, it was played EG versus FaZe in the semifinals, map 3. Mm-hmm. And it was
not
insane.
A bad watch.
It was, what's that?
Not a bad watch.
No, it was fascinating to watch. Right? It was actually really enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
But to think about, as much as I'll complain about that map, the fact that it was played in competitive at the Invitational in the semifinals and map 3, yeah, like that's kind of crazy.
But that's what I find so difficult when we talk about maps or operators for that matter is like, what goggles do I have on? Do I have my streaming goggles on where it's I'm gonna play this game solo, I'm gonna just try and have some fun with it, there's no end goal but enjoyment? Or am I looking for what's the best spectacle in an esports setting, or what is fair when you assume that the 5 players on each team are the absolute best and make no mistake? Because it's so immensely difficult to mix those two. Like I kind of gotta have an opinion for both things, because it is separate, right?
And you have to play the game and enjoy it. And probably being a content creator, you probably play the game more than the average person too. So certain things might frustrate you more than they would the average person, but you need to have a foot. You need to have a foot on both sides.
And I mean, you kind of get rained on a little bit as well with just community opinion, right? Like if let's say Skyscraper, or actually let's say Tower, because that's one that most people will instantly say they hate. If you say you don't hate it, right? People are like, there's something wrong with this guy. Why does he not hate this map? But a lot of the times, I used to go back on maps where people said that you couldn't do a certain thing on, or it was a bad map, and then show like tips and tricks on those maps, right? And a lot of people would realize that all of a sudden they didn't know as much about the map that they hated as they thought. And the maps they liked, they know a lot of things about. That's where they know all the angles, all the spawn peaks, the rotations, and all of that stuff. But I think the more people get to know a map and the more tricks they learn on it, the better it feels, because then you're a little ahead of the other people on that map. And that makes the map not so bad. But when everyone gets on the same level, then you have a little bit better view of that map, right? Like Border, for example, to me seems extremely stagnant and boring right now. We saw immense changes on that map for a year, where new things just kept happening over and over again. And now, I mean, we've really not seen that much new.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I'll give you another spoiler. Borders on my list. Is that your list complete, Pete, or did you have more?
I have Border on my list too.
Okay,
So,
that's great. That's a great.
but that's okay. I don't need to start this one.
Well, no, go ahead. I mean, what's your issue with Border?
Again, I only really like defending one bomb site, which I really do enjoy. It again it does have a bit of the balcony situation of Skyscraper to some degree, and I think I would like more opportunity to roam as a defender, to move around the map a little with a little bit more freedom. Because for a sort of medium-sized map, it can be restrictive I found it to be a little bit restrictive in that sense.
Yeah.
So, for example, if there was a route around from sort of where customs is to... did I make a note of it? I've forgotten what it's called.
The East Stairs, probably.
Yeah.
I'll jump in here. That hole in the ceiling of the main lobby, it needs closed. Like, because that's why, as a defender, I feel like I can never rotate. I either have to come up the metal stairs, which, if the attackers have control of CC, usually one of the first things they're going to do is put a hole in that soft wall, if you leave it soft as a defender, and cut off that rotation at the top of metal stairs. Or I have to come up East Stairs, and East Stairs can be held by one person who's on the roof. And I don't care if there's 30 seconds left in the round, there's going to be an attacker sitting up there. It's going to happen. And he's going to kill me, and I'm going to turn on my text chat that I normally have turned off, and I'm going to call him a dirty name because he just killed me with 30 seconds left in the round. That is going to happen, okay? Close that hole in the roof, and just allow me as a defender to use that staircase for rotates. Because there's still other ways. I mean, if they have control of the office balcony, they can open that and cut off that rotation still. They don't need the hole in the roof to hold that. There's a lot of ways to shut off those East Stairs. So, sorry to jump in there on you, Pete, but I have some strong feelings about that.
That's okay. I'm quite happy with you to carry on, to be honest. And I liked your intonation, and
Yeah. Yeah, that's the issue I see. I Border's on my list, and to say why, it's two things, okay? One, as a defender, I've never really felt like I can have freedom on that map like I do on other maps. Number two, I think that they should probably find a way to have another bomb site upstairs, whether it's a split bomb site between CC and office or something. But I think that they should probably find a way to have another bomb site upstairs. If that means getting rid of the one downstairs, that means adding another room to make it viable. I don't know, but I feel like there should be another one upstairs. And that's really all I'm going to say.
All right, so Border's on my list as well, but I made my list a little bit different. Because Stadium gave me a lot of room to think about how to change maps and combining maps. Because instantly it's easy for people to figure out how Stadium works, right? Like you look at your little compass and you go, oh yeah, this makes sense. This is big window from Oregon, or this is master bedroom. This is armory. What if something like that were to happen with some of the maps that are stagnant or universally disliked by majority of a community? Like, for example, Border and Fortress. So you mentioned the issue with the waiting room. Fortress, if I remember correctly, has 3 stairs, right? Mid-stairs, spiral stairs, and and a ladder.
Yep.
So it has 4 ways to get up. Border has 2. Fortress has long hallways with almost no destruction. Border has long hallways with all destruction. Fortress, you can castle almost everything. There's very few of these arches that you have in Border where you can't castle them. So if you took some of the rooms from Fortress or some of the rooms from Border and you kind of mix match those maps, so you got the good stuff from both of them. I don't think Fortress was a bad map. I don't think Border is a bad map, but I think it would be better if they were combined.
That's interesting.
We'd have more rotates. The stairs on Fortress were better than the stairs on Border. I will always despise stairs with any kind of railing or any kind of like weird metal gap that I can look through. These like solid concrete stairs are just nicer. And then I put Skyscraper and Tower together.
Oh.
Because I think the balcony that is an issue on Skyscraper would help Tower a little bit. And the soft destruction that is on Skyscraper would help Tower as well. Maybe cut Tower down in size, so you were to play, I don't know, like 2/3 of the area instead. Because for me, the biggest issue with that map is it's simply too big. If you're not coordinated, you don't have time on that map. That's the biggest problem. Not so much the soft destruction. It's that you just don't have time to do a second thing, which I guess to some extent is paradoxical, because what we talked about last time was slowing down Siege. So lowering the amount of options you had would actually theoretically make the map better, to some extent, right?
Yeah.
So I think mixing those two maps could be really interesting. Again, I don't really hate any of the maps, but Tower is a cleaner to look at aesthetically, in my opinion, than Skyscraper. There's too much going on. I like to be able to quickly tell a difference between what is a pot, a pan, a Valkyrie, and a wall. That just seems better for my eyes. And then I wanted to mix Oregon and Hereford, because Oregon is extremely boring right now. If you don't win bottom floor, you just move on, because then you messed up. You ban Thatcher and they never get in. That's it. So you get one free victory on each side, and then whoever wins top four is the victor of the map, which not a fan of that way of playing. And Hereford, I absolutely love Hereford, even old Hereford. So I will be as biased as possible to ever get that map back in again. I just miss it. But the way that Hereford and Oregon was mixed in Stadium was actually interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like the kitchen piano side, pretty cool side now. They don't have to take a whole map and massively rework it, because it takes so long for us to learn. Like Outback, I'm still finding new things there every week that kind of blows my mind. Oh, I can just deal with this problem this way. If we combine maps, we'll much simpler. I don't know if it would be an issue to like go in and say, you know what, we're going to take Oregon and Hereford away from you, and then we're going to give you this one combined map instead. I don't know if that's something they can, but you basically just, if my idea works, you just spent 6 maps to make 3 better ones. And you can have more people playing them because you lowered the amount of maps that are needed. You get more feedback on them in shorter time. People that are old school Siege players will still understand the maps because it's a combination of those. So it'll probably be much quicker to learn. Because let's be fair, like Clubhouse map buff completely changed the map. It's sure that some of the rooms are called the same. It's a different map. It's so different how you play it.
Barstock used to be the second most viable site on that map before the rework.
Yeah.
Just think about that.
And now we've seen it played twice in like high-end competitive and lost both times. Although there are teams that scrim it, and there are teams that still have faith in it. I hope we get to see some of that maybe at
That'd be cool.
And my last one is just bank, and it's only because of railings.
You just want the railings removed, or
just go somewhere far away and never come back. I don't care if I'm the one abusing it and getting the kill with it, or if I'm the one getting like messed by it by hitting every railing instead of him. I know it's my aim. I could have, been accurate. I could not have taken that fight, blah, blah. But just make it so we can shoot through these, like, I don't know, make the metal beams fragment like the wood things do, or just let us do some sort of damage through it. Or remove them completely. Even in Vault, put that new damn bulletproof glass thing in. Bank got, an upgrade. Now they can afford bulletproof glass instead of metal things.
Yeah.
And the same on like spiral staircase, no cylindrical concrete pillars on a stair. Just upgrade railings on all stairs, and then most maps would get better.
I want to bring up Hereford because that's like honorable mention for me. It's not on my list, but in my opinion, the Hereford rework fell victim to the top floor and the fact that it was so defender favored on the top floor. outside of that site, I thought the other sites were played out pretty well, in my opinion, and the map as a whole played pretty well, in my opinion. It was just unfortunate that that top site, and in my opinion, if you just added a window, I don't know, it's been so long since I played it.
I've got the solution, Flank. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
But just carrying on what Zyronic was saying about combining maps, what we do is we combine the open roof from Border and we put it on top of Hereford.
There you go. Yeah, I don't know. Like I guess I just wanted to kind of throw that out there as like, part of me feels it's so unfortunate that one site ruined a whole map rework. And the other thing I would say is if the devs are listening, I don't think that reworking the aesthetics of Hereford was that important. And now maybe I'm alone in this. Maybe there are people who really like feel like that was such a huge upgrade to go from the old Hereford aesthetic to the new Hereford aesthetic. In my opinion, I don't know. I didn't feel like it. I didn't feel like that was needed. And I don't know.
I don't care much about the aesthetics either. At the end of the day, it's gameplay will always come first, right?
Yeah.
A map can be as beautiful as anyone wants, but if the gameplay or the flow isn't enjoyable, then it doesn't matter. But Hereford top floor is weird because it's not. I agree. Like it's missing something. I think just putting one exterior wall on the outside, like there was on the old Hereford top floor, would have been enough, right?
Yeah.
So you had something to actually breach, because the main feedback I've heard is that everyone either stands out on, I think it was the east balcony, the one that goes into tractor room on the top, and everyone's standing there, and then they die, and then they say top floor sucks. Okay, then they go to the outside stairs, they push from there, then they die, and they go top floor sucks. What about the fact that the entire floor is destructible? What about the fact that you can get drones in from above? Like, how many people knew about the drone hole up there?
Yeah.
For a very long time, right?
Yeah.
You could all the bomb sites had an opening above them, so you don't ever have to use buck to open up to get smoke grenades, flashbangs, or fire or grenades in. So you could clear the opposite room of tractor. I can't remember if that was A or B. You could clear that one from the window and from below.
Yeah.
And you had repels where if you were repelled and shooting up under the floor, you could clear behind every major part of cover you had in the back of that side. So
go ahead.
You could get really far by doing some vertical play on that map. I just never saw people do it.
I'm so glad you brought that up because it's absolutely true. And as somebody who played Mira a lot on that top floor, I can 100% tell you that the people who would go below as a team and get the map control and then buck from underneath presented me with some real problems. The problem, and this is a bigger siege problem, I'm so glad you mentioned it, is because if you're on a team that has, you and a duo and 3 randoms are with you, you're now requiring all of your team, maybe not all 5 people, but in order to go underneath and buck the soft floor and take advantage of that, you have to have a lot of map control. And you're now complicating a different layer of attack to a random group of people playing together in ranked. And I think that what we're seeing, and again, it's a fault of the players, it's not a fault of the map necessarily, is that your average rank stack in gold, platinum, whatever, that isn't a 5 stack is not going to have the coordinate. That Favela is going to feast upon those players.
Yeah.
She is. She's going to feast upon that. Favela and that Jaeger are going to feast upon those players who maybe go down to the bottom floor and maybe there's 1 or 2 of them down there trying to execute this while the other 3 are dying on tractor window. And now you're in a 2v5 and you're 2 people underneath trying to buck and you're 3, that's, I think that's the reality of how that plays out, but what you're saying isn't wrong. It is not.
I just think the map would be looked at different if it was. I will always stand by that. If a map is forced into competitive, people will always dislike a map until they learn it. Force it into competitive, everyone's going to dislike the map. One team is going to find a way to break what you think is the only way. And then another team is going to find a way to break that. And now, boom, we have like 4 different ways of playing it. And it spreads to the community, and all of a sudden everyone realizes, oh, if they play this thing, then we do this thing.
Exactly.
Right? The way that we deal with bandit tricking on Consulate Garage, well, okay, repel piano window. Shoot him. Well, okay, so then someone jumps out of balcony on the top floor. Good, now we need someone to cover that. And then everything gets like turned into this unified siege attack strat that everyone kind of understands the flow of without ever having anyone teach them. It's just, that's how you do.
I completely agree with you. And let me transition this into my list now, because I think that's a perfect segue. And I'm not going to talk about every single point I have, but I'll just list the 5 that I have really quick. Oregon's on my list. Border, Chalet, Favela, and then the 5th one that's going to be different and plays into your point right there is Outback. Okay? Outback is a map that is growing on me. And it's a map that is widely regarded as being heavily defender favored, and I 100% agree. It comes back to that point we were talking about on Hereford. If you're playing 2 unorganized teams of 5 against each other, yes, it's defender favored, but every map is defender favored. Maybe not to the degree that Outback is, but in 2 unorganized groups of 5 playing in rank together or against each other, the defenders are going to be heavily favored. Okay, on attack you do have to have a little bit more coordination to win around than on defense. I think that's just the nature of the game. But in my opinion, Outback is a slight tweak or buff away from being a very good map, and I would almost just love to see that played in competitive right now. The only issue I have with Outback is, in my opinion, both of the top floor sites funnel attackers into the bull area, and that is a death trap. It feels like you're helpless in that area. There are way too many things that defenders can do for you. The whole floor is soft, so you can have a pulse underneath. You can have a Valkyrie camera hidden in there somewhere with a nitro cell underneath. You have 3 different places that defenders can flank from, whether you consider like the office door, the electrical closet, shark stairs, and then games door, all feed into that area. So as you're an attacker in there, you basically, in order to successfully execute from bull, it feels to me like you must have complete map control as an attacker. And however they decide to fix that, I think the map would be extremely good and viable at all forms of competitive, if with just a slight tweak. So that's why I throw that on my list. Any thoughts that you guys have on that?
I would say if you just move shock window about 10 meters to the left, then you fixed a lot of problems with bull, because flank issues are only ever a problem if you have more than 2 flanks to cover. And on shock, you kind of have 3, because you got shock stairs, you got shock window. Then sure, people might say it's the same flank. It isn't really, because the guy who has to cover that can't be in a position where he can't get C4'd.
Not only that, a Nomad can't cover both of those. Unless
nope.
you can cover the lower part of Shark Stairs, so the Nomad goes off before they would get to top Shark Stairs. Mm-hmm. But if you're wanting to cover a Nomad, that window with a Nomad, it's basically got to be above that window. And that's not going to cover Shark Stairs.
Even gridlogging isn't going to work either. And a Nomad isn't reliable. Like you need to be able to put a gun there, because maybe your Nomad is dead by the time you get bull. So limiting how quickly you can get flanked on your execute spot. I'm fine if there was just a half wall in between. That's all you need. Just something that gives you time to, when you're trying to execute, when you're trying to thermite, throw your EMPs, there can't just instantly be a defender just appearing looking at you. Because right where you're going to be hiding behind bull, that's the first thing you see when you vault in shock window. So if that defender had to run far enough to get spotted, well, then that would help a lot with the bull area. If the hatch was moved, the kitchen hatch was moved, so maybe you could cover for the C4 for when you go for the breach. So you could sit on the back side of the hatch instead of, basically now if you look down the hatch by bull, you just look straight into the wall into compressor. If it was reversed, so you could see underneath kitchen, then you could cover the C4 from the hatch instead. And then you still keep some interesting forced mechanics, like you need spring soft breaches. But yeah, I agree. Micro tweaks to that map. I love the map, but I want to see what good players would do with it if things were on the line.
Love the color scheme. One of my favorite color schemes on any map. And I love that. To me, that map doesn't feel huge. It is a bigger map when you really think about it, but it doesn't feel huge like Tower did. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. All right, so let me just throw a quick note out about Oregon, because we talked about Border and Chalet and Favela. Oregon, in my opinion, there needs to be some type of connection between small tower and maybe big tower, or at least I should be able to go from small tower, kitchen, showers, dining area into basement maybe. There should be a rotate over there somewhere, in my opinion. Open up that side of the map to potential rotates, and I think you fix a lot of the issues over there. Beyond that, I don't really have any like specific suggestions. I mean, maybe making a little bit of the floor more destructible that goes down into basement. I don't know. But I kind of agree with the general sentiment, and that is that Oregon has gotten a little bit boring and stale. I love your idea about mixing maps, but man, there's something about the nostalgia of Oregon. I think I agree. Oregon has like the best music, I think. Like, say what you want about Oregon, but there is nothing more Rainbow Six Siege than the music of Oregon when it comes up. The music that plays when the map Oregon is coming up. It's like that. It like screams Rainbow Six Siege nostalgia to me. So
the first thing you hear in Pro League every time as well.
Yeah.
The Oregon theme, right?
Yeah. So that's really all I have. What were, like, just to kind of sum this up, what were the overlaps? I think we all had border, correct?
Yep.
Pete and I both had Chalet.
I didn't have that, but that's I think that would change with. I just want to see it with the operators that have been implemented, because I have some theories on the map, and I might be completely wrong. I just thought the other ones were more of an issue, even when you consider new operators.
Veronica and I both had Oregon on our list as, either a mix, mashing two maps together or reworking one. So definitely some overlap there. You guys good with that, or anything else you wanted to add on the top 5 maps conversation?
I would like to like have them make a rule that we don't get new maps unless they get forced into competitive.
Wow. You
got really
hated by every pro player that ever existed.
That's completely fine. I'm there already.
All right, explain yourself.
So when a new map comes out and there's this instant reaction to, this is a terrible map. It might be a good map, it might be a bad map. That's not even important, but we need the best of the best in Siege to run through it and teach us how to do it. That's not a secret. We hated Border to start with. And I played in Pro League back when Border was a thing. We couldn't find scrims. No one wanted to play that map. Everyone hated it. And boom, half a year later, most played map. Skyscraper, no one wanted to touch it. Boom, a ton of people playing it.
What about Coastline? How was that initially received?
50-50. Everyone was saying it was completely broken because there was a big hole in the middle and you could simply stand on the roof. Then what happens now? How often do we see people standing on the roof and holding it? I mean, in ranked, sure. But in comp, it's actually not that bad. Yeah. Everyone was playing Penthouse, even in comp, for a long time. Then people kind of realized that if you lose VIP or if you lose E stairs, well, then it's not even a bomb site anymore. It's just a death funnel for defenders, and retakes are immensely difficult. But that's kind of the, Sunrise Bar would probably never have seen play in ranked if it wasn't because we saw teams like G2 pull it out, right? We need those new strats and new setups and someone to show us that if you put one impact hole here, well, damn, now the map's completely different. The fact that we are seeing bomb sites being played, that everyone within the first month said this is a shit bomb site, will never work. But we're seeing those are some of the most played bomb sites now with the highest win rates. That shows how bad we are at judging it initially. I think this probably counts for most maps, man. The sites we think are the best to start with are very rarely the best.
Yeah.
Right? Gym, Clubhouse. That's going pretty well for a lot of teams.
Yeah. No, you're right.
And that looked like a terrible site on Rework, to be honest.
Okay.
It's better for a viewer. Let's face it, the viewer wants to see the new map.
Yes.
When Skyscraper finally came in, it was a big deal. I remember that. So that would be cool for the viewer, but the first thing you'll hear from a dev blanked is they're from a pro player is, well, hang on, what if this shit unbalanced map is being forced upon us? We're being forced to play it.
Yeah.
You know? And
give them 6 months. Done.
So you could say sort of in 2 seasons, this will be in Pro League. But would you necessarily see it?
Here, let me add an asterisk to what you said right there, Pete. What if we said this? Every year, one new map will be entering Pro League. Because if you think about it, we're probably only getting 2 new maps per year. So a foundation of Rainbow Six Siege is that every year we will be injecting one new map into Pro League Rainbow Six Siege.
I mean, it isn't that insane either, what you're saying, because we got Cafe, we got Clubhouse, Consulate, still fairly new. I know, you know, it's been a while, but it got into comp.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Pete. Continue with your thought, and then I have a point to play on.
No,
what we're talking about here.
That's fine. And I think what Ironic said, you know, Cafe, there was no debate. That's going straight in.
Well,
Get
okay.
on with it.
Here are the maps that have been either new or reworked that have been inserted into Pro League immediately. Villa, and I'm speaking recent memory. Villa, that is the last map that was brand new and inserted into Pro League immediately. What's the reception of Villa? I'm sure there is an edgelord out there in the comments of this video that's going to say, I hate Villa. It's the worst map in the game. But generally, Villa is well received. For if you're looking at any of the newer maps in Rainbow Six Siege, I would say Villa is the most well received map. Okay, Cafe, Rework, inserted directly into Pro League immediately. Clubhouse, Rework, inserted into Pro League immediately.
Consulate, new bomb site.
Consulate, absolutely. Yeah. So if you look at the history of either new maps or reworks that were inserted into Pro League immediately, they're all well received. If you look at the ones that aren't, they're not very well received. So I guess the question is, what came first, the chicken or the egg?
I was going to say it's chicken and egg, because maybe the pro players had more involvement or more consultation with those maps, and that's why they were more willing to put it in, which I'm guessing is what you were about to say.
I do not believe that, because if that was the case, then the old maps still played the same way that they were when they left the competitive. So if improvement slows down or stops because less work is going into it, and I think people don't give competitive players enough credit for how much goes into like learning how a map works in a team. We're not talking about finding one cool angle, right? Everyone can do that. But you need to know where's the other one's going to be at what time, what operators have an influence on this map, how likely are we to get a flank off when this happens or this happens. That whole process stagnates and just basically goes to a full stop whenever the map leaves Pro League. It happened for Skyscraper. It happened for Chalet. It happened for Oregon. Right? Like, we need that constant new drive from people that have trophies on the line on those maps. That makes us play different because we see what they do, and otherwise every map just turns into a football field and we're just all playing football and nothing changes.
But the flip side of that is it can get kind of boring, you know. Say Skyscraper with the Montaigne push. That can, for a viewer to watch, or when. Yeah,
but so that will only ever be for one season or for one match, because like with more operators being introduced, so that wouldn't be an issue now, right? Like that Montaigne push wouldn't work. You're gonna rock Lesion and Goyo, or you're gonna C4 from below and smoke them out, or whatever. Or you're gonna start running Castle, Goyo, Maestro, and they simply can't afford to bring them onto because they needed more destruction to get through it. But the problem is, if we stop with Skyscraper the second the Monty was a thing, then that's as far as we get with most things. I can't remember when I've seen anyone do a new cool strat on House, for example.
Yeah.
That it doesn't really happen. And it's not so much to say that it's because, like, as if it's the ranked players or the community's fault. Far from. When I jump into a ranked game, I can't afford to try every single possible way of failing because that will just cost me games. But a competitive player can, because they need to learn every failure point. They need to try everything and see if even the dumbest stuff maybe works, right? And I think that helps the community more than people think, way more. So even if it's just one ranked map, one map a year that gets forced into competitive, we need that for the rest of the community to enjoy the map as much as possible. Otherwise, it's wasted man hours on fixing maps that a third will love because they're new, and a third will be completely indifferent, and another third will absolutely hate them.
Yep.
I'd rather tilt it a little bit towards everyone learning more about the map, and then maybe you'll not enjoy the map, that's fine, but maybe at least you will know how to play it. Because that's going to make your disenjoyment, if that is even a word, less of that map. It's much more pleasant to play a map that you don't like but know how to play than to play a map that is new, that you don't like, you don't know how to play, and it's just, you just feel uncomfortable in that whole thing.
Final note, because we got to get onto this quiz. I'm excited to see what Pete has in store for us. Just initial knee-jerk reaction to the theme park rework so far. You guys enjoying it?
I think it's more defender-siding than it used to be. But I'm enjoying it, yeah.
I'm enjoying it as well. I think of any map right now that's not in competitive that maybe should be, that would be probably my leading candidate to throw that into competitive right now. I'm enjoying it a lot. And I agree with you on the defender sided, but let me ask you this. I think a lot of people, like, for example, Throne Room, for example, to me, that site is not defender favored as long as you open up enough of the walls. There's three walls there, and if you open two of them, the defenders are in bad shape. As long as one of them's the north, that's the one by the yellow stairs, and then you open either mechanical or barrels. If you get holes in both of those walls, the defenders are in a really bad situation. But as an attacker, if you're forced to come in through one of those two doorways at the end of the round, yeah, you're going to die, and it's defender favored. So I don't know. I just wanted to kind of throw that out there real quick. I'm enjoying that rework, and all in all, I think the reworks over this past year and year 4, if we're looking back on the map reworks, extremely well done. I mean, like we're in a good situation now when it comes to maps in this game, and a much better situation we were at the beginning of the year.
Okay, so we're going to move on now and do this week's quiz. So this is our second quiz. The first one, we did a community poll and we looked at favorite defender primary weapons, and Zyronic came out on top, but flanked.
Controversial victory.
It was controversial because to be fair, I explained the rules. It was sudden death, but afterwards, Flank said, "Well, hang on a minute here. Zyronic should have to get the next question right." And I mean, logically, I think that is true.
Flank was true.
It's all right. It
was true, but it weren't the rules. It weren't the rules. So there was a lot of commotion behind the scenes, some tears about it. So I just want to be really clear on this week's rules. So what we're doing, and neither of these two know this yet, so this is going to be news to them. I've prepared some videos, and when I tell you the title of it, it will be obvious what it is. What happened next? So I will send you both the video. There's 4 in total. So for the first one, because Zyronic won the last quiz, it's his go first, and then it will be flanked, and then Zyronic, then flanked. However, if I'm going to judge the answer, and if I'm not happy with it, you get a chance to steal. So if I say what happened next, and the answer is it'll be an esport event, and the answer is an impact grenade was thrown and it killed the last attacker. Okay, let's say that's what happened. But I'm not happy with Zyronic says something kind of similar, but not that. I can say, no, I'm handing it over, and then flanked gets a go. Does that make sense?
If I'm more specific, then maybe I get it.
I've got to be satisfied.
Okay.
Guys, you need to satisfy me here, all right?
All right. Peace rules.
Yeah. But I think those are fair rules too.
Okay.
So that's phase 1 of the quiz, and then phase 2 is something different. But the whole idea really is we're just looking back at sort of the esport with the Invitational coming up just over a week away. So, yeah, this is just kind of a nod and a wink to that with this quiz. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to send you both a link, a video link. Obviously, when people watch this back, it will just play here. Okay. It will be edited.
Here for Nomads, if he gets the right flank, he will get one, but not the second. And he has not downed the diffuser, which means it will likely be planted in moments here inside of dorms. Spray through the wall for X, just narrowly missing some shots there onto yellow. Both of these attackers are on low HP, and one will be downed, the second one marked, and this could still be a clutch for X. He doesn't have to fight against a mirror window, luckily for him, which means this retake is definitely possible. He sees the spray, and the tracers give away the position, but the vault from Capital might be the
Okay. Are we there?
Yep.
So, it's ironic. This is your go. What happens next?
So this is 100% gonna be a guess, because this has got to be first USN, and it's back when Billboard and Chat played, so I have no idea.
I was gonna give you the option of multiple choice, but I want you just to like give me.
I would say he just sticks the diffuse and gets away with the victory there. Just a ninja and a mess up from Capital. I don't think he gets a fire arrow in.
Okay. That's your final answer, yeah?
Yep.
So, blank
I'm going to throw a guess. I'm going to throw a guess here as well.
Yeah. So that's untrue. So you have a chance to steal.
So
remember, this is before fire fell from the roof.
Yeah.
This is old Capital. Is this still Capital with nades? No, this is still after nades because Mav is out.
I'm going to say, I mean, surely it's not this simple, but is Capital... Well, actually, okay. I mean, maybe Capital just gets on the window and firebolts him out.
Okay. I'm not giving it to either of you. So good guesses. I've given you both the solution now where I put the original video. What you see, actually, this is a really interesting play. The defender realizes that he's not going to be able to stick it. So on that video, skip halfway through.
Yep.
He jumps, gets the kill, and he flanks the whole way around.
Gets the kill and runs all the way around and sticks the defuse and gets it just in time. So that's nil point.
Okay.
All right, so carrying on the esports tradition, this one is now yours, flanked. Again, if you don't get it, Zyronic has a go to get it. So if you both open that up.
All right. And I have it paused.
Oh,
you
this
ready?
is old.
Yeah, this is really old. Are you ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go.
Himself, we are going to have two members from Penta left alive. KS falls. Pengu has repelled on inside. He's down in corner office with Diffuser, going up against two members from the defending squad. Now they are in quite a pinch here. We are going to have Pengu with very low health. One little bullet will do the damage that needs to get done. He's going to go for the plant as Bibu comes around. 15 seconds. There's the...
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay, what happens? Because I think Zyronic's got this.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm nervous about.
This has to be the one I'm thinking of. It has to.
But I will say this: they're all notable events. I haven't just gone in and something notable happens.
I'm gonna say that. I mean, that Valkyrie is a good ways away, so I don't see the TK possibility. I'm gonna say that Pengu comes off the plant and kills both of the remaining defenders instead of getting the plant down.
So you're saying Pengu comes off the plant?
Pengu comes off the plant, kills Bibu as he's trying to detonate the C4, and then kills the Valkyrie.
Any other details?
Maybe kills them both with the Deagle because he had the Deagle out.
All right. I'm going to give you the Zyronic.
Can I add one thing to it?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he kills the last one in the bathroom.
There's the C4 toss. He tossed it too far. I don't think Bibu knew that he's that close. And there it is. Pengu taking out one. Can he take out the other? He knows Poseidon was inside a cubby, or at least close to there. He's moved on to the other bomb site. Going for the plant. Poseidon now is going to try to rush on over here. He's going for the kill. It doesn't work out, and Pengu now knows exactly where he's at. Who's going to get the first kill? He's going for the Deagle kill. Can he get it? He does get the Deagle kill! Pengu dropping the clutch right there as Poseidon will fall to the 50 caliber bullet going into his chest.
Pengu's fucking insane. He's insane.
I'm going to give the points to the flanked there because I think that's close enough. I've sent you the solution as well.
All right. I mean, there's probably a library of clips of Pengu playing Blackbeard on Consulate.
Yeah, there's a few.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of clutches.
He should have his own montage. I'm sure he probably does. So this next one is for you, Zyronic. I'm going to pop it into the. So we're 1-1 now, right?
Of course, one of the most proficient fraggers in all of Latin America, often overshadowed by certain other Ash players in Brazil, but can do a lot of damage with that R4C and the speed that comes with it. Currently in a 5v3 in favor of Ninjas in Pajamas as they've opened up the wall. They can begin to start their assault. Of course, you've got Vogue holding onto that diffuser. Those ADSs will be in vain inside of the garage. Ace is flashed. He's got the LMG played up, and you'll just see all...
Oh, I think I already know this one.
I know. But like, I thought that first one on Oregon was fairly easy. But
I think this is the one where Aces mows everyone down.
I'm pretty sure you're right.
I'm gonna say that, and I think mowing everyone down should be enough.
I think this is where Aces use 81 bullets.
Yes. One of the reasons that an ACOG might not be enough.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look.
And you'll just see all the utility from PZD will be dumped in, but Aces gets one. Psycho is aware that there's one playing on stairs. Julia will take out Neofighter. Plant going down somewhat successfully, but no, Aces sees him. Aces coming in. Can he get it? 2 big kills from Aces. He sees another, a third. Aces, oh my goodness, in a 1v1. Ew, he's still got the diffuser to work through. Julia will now watch. And who's going to prevail in this fight? A Sledge versus the Maestro. Any intel from Fnatic right now could possibly be going. But look at this, 1 frag grenade remaining from Julio, and he's priming it on the diffuser. He'll toss it out, and Aces, will he live? He'll get off the plant. The Maestro will shoot away at the wall. This is a bad position, but Aces, oh my god, how does this happen? Oh my word, Aces, a huge clutch, and he'll get the diffuser. Fnatic, my god!
Yes, I think that's. I think you do. I don't think you could have described it any more aptly than you just have.
Watch it.
Yeah, so mowing everyone down should. Yeah, that should definitely be enough for this because
it's enough. It's enough.
Knowles has been taken
You ready?
out.
So this is your go, flanked.
With the Gushmots, Crips putting in the lounge, Joystick contesting. Not even a Claymore that has been set here to deny Joystick to move up. He'll take the fight. Scyther will find one, and there's the second. Crips to go down, not enough.
this feels like a bait.
All right, so Red Groove is in a 5v1. He's Habana.
Yes, I think he does.
You think he clutches the 1v5? I don't know, man. A Habana clutching a 1v5. That is... The diffuser's down. It looks like inside a church. Dropped. That could be blue as well, actually. I mean, yeah, I guess I'll just say, you know, Red Groove clutches a 1v5.
You're saying he ace clutches it and wins the round? That's your final answer?
Yes.
It's wrong.
Okay.
Sorry. It's not the answer I'm looking for anyway. So that makes life a lot easier for Zyronic.
Yeah.
Well, then I will say he does not ace clutch the round. No, I think I'm pretty. Either he gets a 4K or a 5K and then loses on the diffuse, but he has an ace against Empire at some point. I'm almost sure of that.
I'm going to make it easier for you. want to know the exact number of kills, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, to give you the points, just to be fair.
Well, geez.
Okay, then I will say he gets an ace, but doesn't. No. Chance of him losing with an ace is almost impossible. Well, he'll get 4K and then lose on a defuse.
Maybe one's downed.
Okay.
Four kills and a down.
All right. So
there's no docs that will still be a victory.
So you're saying 4 kills but loses the round?
Yeah.
Okay.
Either we'll find one, and there's the second. Crips to go down. Not enough chips in chat to help out Crips as Red Groove gets a kill. Will it be enough against the last 4 of Team Empire? He's gonna get tracked the whole time. Look at the pulse. They know all about this.
You want a bold prediction? No, it will not. He'll get a second though. So that is impressive. Red Groove has been fragging out. He's looking for his third. He's gonna see the head. No! What a shot! Karzeka goes down. And what is happening? There's potential for an ace clutch right now. He has control of Arsenal and the diffuser. 22 seconds is enough to make this happen. Mark's coming out. Red Groove's position given away. Last 2 defenders inside a church. Red Groove has the diffuser. He could fake plant, but he's gonna go for the... Oh, Red Groove's absolutely insane! Only one more, but he can't get it! Shepard clutches it. Empire go to match point. And what a story. What a way to end it. An excellent try, but it just was inches off.
I gotta say, I'm getting ripped off in these quizzes, Pete. I mean, how much easier can you make it on Saronic?
I don't want any more tears of midnight phone calls behind the scenes as to what's going on with these quizzes. But I will say this though, I do think that particular portion of the quiz was suited more to Zyronic, who comes out at 3 points to 1. Have you seen that?
I will say I don't think I deserve the point for this one. So I will say we split that point. Because he kind of walked into me saying I think he did it.
Well, no,
yeah, but I actually think he did as well.
You got an extra hint. You got an extra hint.
Well, I mean, I got a hint by you getting it wrong, because if he didn't ace, he
yeah, but if
didn't
Pete would have
win.
said to me, all you have to do is tell me the number of kills, then...
Well, I did, and you said, if you'd have said to me 4K but didn't win, but you said ace.
Okay.
I said, what more can I do for you?
It's fine. So are you saying 2-1? Is that we're moving on with a 2-1 scoreline?
It's 3-1, but if Zyronic wants to...
I will give one away from last week. As the winner of the last one, I can afford to give away one.
He's the bigger man here. All right. So we're 2-1 at the moment, first to 5. So we're now moving on to phase 2 of the quiz. I just need to grab the video link. Okay, so for phase 2 of the quiz, I'm sending you a video to watch. And what you need to do is watch it very carefully, because I'm going to follow up with some questions. Now, really, this isn't a Rainbow Six Siege knowledge quiz as much as it's a memory quiz, because I'm going to ask you about some of the events that went on, and you can make some educated guesses. But I suppose this is just an opportunity to showcase the Invitational with a classic match from a past Invitational.
Okay.
Yeah, Era opened up those holes just to scare the enemy team, but I feel like Continuum, they're going to actually play a roamer up there.
So, as always, Canadian running around the map, checking all the different spawns with his heartbeat sensor and looking at where it is the majority of players are going to come from. We now know it's the gas station, but they're cautious of the windows because King George is late breaking them all. So they are unsure of where it is he may be, making sure they very, very slowly and safely approach the building.
Are Era going to just simply go for a garage door attack this time, or are they going to establish themselves vertically as well? They do have that Hibana and Buck. They can easily open up the drops. They can open up behind White Van. They can open up above Pipe and Pillar. But they just haven't done that as of yet, and it doesn't seem like they're applying any pressure to inside. I think they're a little bit afraid of those roamers. They don't want to spend the time to clear them out.
One garage wall open, then the flashbangs went in. It was enough so that Young could no longer battery trick the wall in the correct spot. Didn't pick the right one. And that means one of them is open. Slash now cautious, baiting out with the sound of that thermite charge to try and see if they're going to pick yellow car, or white car rather, and nope, Young aren't going to do it. Just going to hide on in. So the garage is completely open now. Era have a good sight line into most of the bomb site. But Can they do anything with it? Minute 45 on the clock now. And they're going to drone in and find out what's waiting for them. Unsurprisingly, one by White Van. That's nothing there. But there's no one over by Pipes right now. There is a Canadian, however, up on top of this balcony. Misses the first few shots from his jump out. Does take a little bit of damage, but gets back in safely now. And rejoins King George. Remember, those trapdoors open, gives them a nice easy rotate back down. And with a minute 20 to go, every second the arrow waits outside means they rotate back down. It's going to be more and more dangerous. Smoke grenades go towards the back of the White Van to help take out the trophy system. Nade will come over from Snake, and it's taken out by the next trophy system that was there and waiting. Era's plan did seem to be that straight through the garage door like it was before, but now as the nades aren't working, the smoke grenades are still coming, it seems like they're realizing it might not be the best idea. Starting to fall back a little bit, re-drone it, be very cautious and be very tentative with their in and then they're out and they're not sure. MBK getting aggressive, peeking out towards the Blackbeard, does survive it, stays safe himself. 50 seconds to go now. MBK and friends are holding firm until Slash will open up the killing onto Canadian. One of the roamers is down as he tries to come back downstairs. King George, I remember, jumped down from above before, and that threat is still here. 38 seconds and we're still waiting. Slash throws another smoke grenade in towards the back of the van. Avian peeking forward again. The diffuser is in Slash's hand, but as Avian will fall, Young gets taken out by Slash. Sorry, Young takes out Slash. Back of those White Vans, MBK is low again, the diffuser being picked up now. Blackbeard is down, Snake goes in, takes down Young, but King George will trade down Eclipse. MBK and King George the last two now, as Snake picks up a double. Snake picks up a third now, and it's King George alone against two. Avian could be getting revived outside, but the diffuser is hanging on. Avian is up, so it is now 1v3. Going to come slowly down the back staircase. He's going to try and go in after the plant. He cannot stop it now. It's too far along. Avian inside the kitchen. Just sees him around the corner. Putting on another shield. He can't miss his face. Hidden behind the ACOG. Avian gives Era map number 1.
A completely unexpected yet deserved victory from Era. And
Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. So, Flanked, you get to go first here with the since Ironic had the last question, even though he very kindly decided to forfeit a point. All right, so question number 1, over to Get Flanked, is what bomb site is Continuum defending?
Oh my. The garage on Consulate?
Easy, yeah? Nice and easy. See, and don't say I don't ever give you an opportunity. Yeah. All right, okay, so, right, we're on 2-2. First
playing on.
First to 5, we're at 2-2. Question for Zyronic. Which operator is NVK playing as?
Jaeger, always.
3-2 exposed.
Okay. Question for Get Flanked. Who is the first person to die in the round? I'll accept operator or the person's name. I'll accept either of them.
Canadian Pulse.
Bloody hell. You only get 1 point, but you are correct. Okay, so we are at what?
Always
3-3. Okay,
I'm
so
just joking,
Zyronic.
Troy. I love you.
Zyronic, who got that kill? Again, I'll accept the operator or the person's name.
It wasn't Snake because you only got a 3k. I don't know.
You give up on that? You can have a guess, can't you?
K9?
Good effort. It's Slash Arc as a Thermite.
I was going to say that too if you gave me a chance to steal, but no.
Well, I'm going to give you this one, though. Who is the first member of Era to die? So we know who the first member of Continuum was. Who was the first member of Era?
Eclipse?
Thermite, and it was Slash Arc. Yeah.
I was on the same. It was either Thermite or Habana. That's all I remember.
Because he gets the wall open, he gets the second wall open, and then he gets a kill before being traded. Okay. Who does Snake Nade kill with his sidearm?
He gets 2 with the DMR, and then he gets the third one. So he would have killed white man, maybe yellow, and then pipes after. Is it NBK he gets with the pistol?
That is incredible logic. Yeah, it is. Yeah, dude, that was impressive. So you're one away from victory now, considering you conceded a point, and flanked you're 2 away. So you really do need this next one. And I'm going to throw you a softball. All right. Yeah. So who was the last defender alive?
As far as who
was the last man standing on the defense?
King George. He was playing Valkyrie, I believe.
Yeah. All right. So we're 4 apiece. The next point is the big one. All right. Who plants the diffuser, Zyronic, for era? Who gets it down?
Shouldn't that be Flank's question?
He just had a question.
It was to get the comeback chance. I think I will mess it up anyway.
Go ahead.
It wasn't Blackbeard. Thermite and Banner was downed. So, and it wasn't Snake he was on a gun, it was K9.
Yeah. Yeah, so you win the this week's quiz, and it goes to 2-0.
I needed to answer the one that I got wrong on this segment. I needed.
Yeah. I tell you what, it was close, man. And I think the answer I was most impressed with was the witch operator Snake Grenade killed with his sidearm, because it was just like working through the logic of where they all were in there.
Well, it was more he'd never be using a sidearm unless he was through his DMR, right? Because he runs DMR and Buck. So, like, white and yellow would always peek first. And I know he got a 3K, because I remember the round. I didn't know he actually got one with a pistol. So it just had to be the last one, I assumed.
Honestly, I thought that was a real bugger of a question, because you don't actually see it. It just pops up in the kill feed on the right. So I thought I was throwing you kind of a tough question there.
I mean, it was also just a guess. The only thing I knew was that NVK was playing around pipes in security area.
Yeah.
So it made sense if he was the third.
Thought that was a toughie. So two up. I think that second phase, I would just want to put my hands up and say that that's a bit crap, because it's not really Rainbow Six Siege knowledge. It's like a memory test. Really.
It was still cool though.
But I think
I like that. I like that format.
It was a good trip down memory lane. To be
that's
honest,
exactly it. I think
kind of enjoyed it.
To look at the first invitational, you know, the final. One of the questions, for example, was going to be how many rounds because Era won that map. What was the round count at the end? What would you go for?
I would have missed it. I didn't even pay attention.
Have a guess. Go on, man.
6-4.
6-3.
5-3.
Oh yeah.
Earlier rules. Yeah.
Yes. First to 5. This was their last one. Mm-hmm. They win after this round.
I think it said that they won that map on that round. So.
That was the map winning round.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, Invitational 2017.
I'm glad you didn't pull up any of my old clips.
Pete, well done, man. That was a lot of work, dude. Seriously, like that.
Good job.
That was really cool. I'm glad you did that, and hopefully the viewers enjoy that as much as we did.
What could the viewers do if they really enjoyed that? What could they do in about a week's time?
They could watch the Invitational.
Cool. And how could they do that?
On twitch.tv/Rainbow6 or on YouTube.
That sounds like a sponsor. Yeah. It's not a sponsor.
You know, that's actually next on the agenda. Let's talk about the Invitational, okay? On the screen right now, we'll be showing the groups. I'm looking at them right now. So I think maybe that's the first thing we should do is talk about the groups, what the groups are, kind of our initial thoughts, because for anybody who's not familiar with Invitational, it starts out with group play. Where basically you have like it's called like a round robin in the group, right? Is that the format that it's actually called? But there'll be 2 teams that advance out of each group, and then after that, it's actually a new change this year. It's going to go to a double elimination bracket. So there'll be a total of 8 teams after the groups, and a winners and losers bracket. Now, if instead of like the winning bracket having to win, the winner of the losers bracket will play the winner of the winners bracket, and instead of the loser having to beat the winner twice, they actually just get a 1 map advantage. Correct? Isn't that how it's going to work?
Yes.
So if
finals is just going to be a one map advantage.
So in the finals, basically the team that went through and didn't drop a map didn't drop a match throughout the entire bracket will start out with a 1-0 map count lead on the team that made it through the losers finals.
I don't know if I like that.
It's a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah. This is the first I'm hearing of it, but that does sound a little bit anti-competitive. But I suppose the argument in favour of it is that they came through as the sort of best losing team.
Yeah, I mean, there has to be an advantage of some sort.
Yeah, because losers bracket is kind of it's a really tough one to justify because in theory you should have been kicked out, right? Like in theory. So if you're completely fair head to head in the finals, but you went to the loser bracket, you could have had an easier run to the finals.
What about they just have to win 2 best of 3s? I mean,
I've always been, I don't know, I kind of look at it like boxing, right? It doesn't matter. You set a set of rules, and the best team is the one that wins. That's how it is.
Yeah.
The best team wins. If you have good rules or bad rules, some rules might be more fair than others. I'm not going to argue against that. But the best team is the one who wins, no matter how the rules are, because we have to have that view. Otherwise, we're taking away that victory.
Well, and correct me
I don't
if I'm
believe
wrong.
seeding is a good thing. For example,
Another way of looking at this is that the loser final team will have to win 3 out of. It would be 3 out of 4 maps. Yeah, 3 out of 4 maps. Yeah. So there's definitely an advantage there for the team that makes it through out of 100%. The winners. But yeah, it's kind of weird. As far as the groups, you guys want to go ahead and break this down? Group A. Yeah. Everybody's calling Group A the group of death, and I have a hard time disagreeing with that. Group A is Team Empire, Dark Zero, FaZe Clan, and Fnatic. Yeah, that is there's a lot of interesting storylines there. Because I so closely follow Dark Zero, I can tell you that this group is almost identical to Raleigh, except for Fours was the Russian team instead of Team Empire. But this group, there was a group at Raleigh in the group stages of Raleigh that was identical to this. And the 2 teams that made it out in Raleigh were Fours and FaZe Clan. Dark Zero beat Fnatic the first match and then lost to Fours and then lost to FaZe Clan. And yeah, I mean, what are your guys' thoughts? I mean, pick 2 teams. Who's going to make it out of Group A?
Well,
I'm not gonna do predictions.
Okay, yeah,
here. I will save those.
I don't blame you.
I don't blame you.
Or invite, but I will say,
pick them out of a hat, really.
I will say I don't think this group is gonna turn out any more different than people think, and I'm not a fan of calling it like the group of death because I think it's pretty predetermined who's making it out. I might be completely wrong, and I will stand corrected. But I think some of the other groups are going to be way closer.
Interesting. Pete?
We'll have to talk it off air. I guess if I had to pick 2, probably the top 2, as I look at it, would probably be the 2 that stand out for me because Team Empire, I think they lost last week at the time of making this podcast. I have a feeling they lost against G2, but they're still, I want to say, second in EU. Yeah. After the first, after we're at the halfway stage, right? Yeah. And they're 7. They're second at the halfway stage. So, and I think they're probably going to be, a big event team. I could see them going quite far, topping the group, and then maybe Dark Zero with a bit of a redemption story. Although they've had a hard week too.
Yeah.
Going in.
This is really tough for me because, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Let's look at Dark Zero. So I think that everybody would agree that Team Empire is a favorite to make it out of this group. The question is between Dark Zero, FaZe Clan, and Fnatic, which team's going to make it out? Fnatic is playing with their former coach as well as another roster change there, right? I think Fnatic is like the least. I know the less about what they're going to show up with here than the other, than either Dark Zero or FaZe Clan. So FaZe Clan, like I said, beat Dark Zero at Raleigh, and then Dark Zero beat FaZe Clan at in the Japan Pro League Finals. However, a little asterisk there, FaZe Clan was playing with a substitute because of visa issues. So when you look at that matchup between those two, I think that's going to decide, in my opinion, which team makes it out, is between Dark Zero and FaZe Clan. I'm actually really glad that Dark Zero just got absolutely destroyed by TSM. I think that will affect their mindset coming into this in a positive way. Like, if that wasn't a wake-up call, like, hey, we have a lot of work to do before Invite, then nothing is. So hopefully that has motivated them to get better. But yeah, I mean, I guess if I'm going to pick two teams, I'll stick with Team Empire and Dark Zero.
You know, that Dark Zero FaZe Clan one, I think, just looking at the schedule here, obviously it's going to be live streamed, but it's not going to be in front of an audience, is it? It's the... Or am I wrong?
I don't know.
It will not be in front of an audience, no.
Yeah, so...
Group stages are closed off for public.
Yeah.
But it will be streamed, it will be casted, of course. There'll be an A and a B stream as well.
When do the group stages start? What day do the group stages...
The 6th, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
So Thursday.
First and
A day
second. So
after this
there
goes
should
live.
be, what, 2 or 3 days of group stages? 2 days, right?
Well, 2 days.
No, there's
I
3 days.
think.
Because if
We got...
there should be 3
Empire
days.
Fnatic should be first match.
I don't know
got
if
the
I'm looking
schedule
at
right here.
this wrong, but it says Tuesday... There's matches on Tuesday, the 11th.
That could be
Yeah, that should be when...
the finals start, right? The 11th?
Wait, no. The finals are over the 15th to
Okay.
16th weekend.
We're confusing everybody here
'cause
right now.
Yeah,
We'll get it
I
straightened
fly
out
in
for
the
you guys in
9th.
just a second. We'll get the facts to you.
I fly in the 9th. I got the... Oh, this was the wrong one.
It's not on the screen that I'm looking at here.
Day 1, February 7th.
Okay.
Then we have group stages starting there. Then we have Friday, Saturday, Sunday for those.
For the finals. So the group stages will be 3
No,
days
sorry,
or
for
2
the group
days?
stages. Yeah, three days of group
Okay.
stage.
So, okay. All right. That makes sense. As far as Group B is Navi, Rogue. Rogue is former Giants roster. Keep that in mind. And then TSM and Space Station Gaming. Another interesting group there. Really, really, really interesting. Initial thoughts for me, Rogue, although they are in first place in EU right now, you kind of have to throw them in the same pile as Dark Zero even more in that they've never really performed to their potential on LAN. And in my opinion, if they show up on LAN, they could very easily come out of this group. But if they play status quo to what they have, then they're not going to. Navi obviously had a great run at the Pro League Finals, but has been on a slump ever since then. I would have to say my favorite coming out of this group would be TSM, because TSM has always played well on LAN. I'm wondering how Geo's performance is going to transfer into LAN. Space Station just performed really well in 2 LANs in a row, both at Oga Pit and at US Nationals. I mean, I would, as strange as this sounds, my 2 favorites coming out of this group would be TSM and Space Station.
You mentioned with Rogue and Dark Zero, I think it's super interesting that so they have very different playstyles than most other teams. At least in my opinion, I think Dark Zero is like this execute heavy team that when they do set up, they don't lose their executes when everything goes to plan, and it looks beautiful and orchestrated when they do it. And Rogues, like they take some chances with bans that we rarely see teams do, and do some really different things. Sometimes they oversimplify a really difficult thing and make it work. So they're really enjoyable to watch. And I want to see that work at LAN. I really want to see them go far, because I want to see something like that in a high tier match. I don't want to lose that already in groups. But realistically, if they don't have a good day, one of those teams, they might get just slaughtered by Navi or TSM just alone by gun skill. And that would be a shame if you end up missing out on all of that potentially really, really good those really good matches because they simply lost all of their gunfights. And that is really something that could happen. that they just, no matter how good your strats are, if like take on CSM, if we have a chieftain popping off there, then
Yeah.
good luck.
Then good night.
Yep. Yeah, never right back. Or
You would consider them the favourites, right? Surely, with the form that they're in, I think they've beaten pretty much everyone in their region.
I mean, do you really consider them the favorite over the team that just won the season 10 finals? You know what I mean? Even though they're in a slump,
Yeah.
like it's tough. It's a tough group to call.
Yeah.
I don't think people should sleep on G2. I know that it was a meme last time, and it was a meme the time before, and people were joking about saving strats, but you can't take anything away that a couple of times where we joked about them saving strats, they ended up absolutely smacking everyone. So there is something to having learned how to win and knowing exactly what it is you're after. And that is quite powerful compared to having gone there many, many times and having tried different things and never really gotten there. And maybe, I mean, I was gonna be a rough on roster changes, but I guess G2 has had their fair share of those right now. Like stable rosters. Look at some of the LATAM teams, right? Group C, for example. They've had rosters going back almost stable for 6 months. Some of them.
Yeah.
That's a rare thing in Siege, right?
Yeah.
To not swap players whenever you lose a game. And there's some strength in that as well. Liquid had a massive slump. Hopefully they're back. I mean, NIP and FaZe, if I was them, I would want to destroy every single team now, because last time I didn't get to show anything because you have substitutes on your team because of visa issues, right?
Yeah.
I would, like, if there's anything that would make you fuel the fire to get ready for something like Inmut, it's having to play with 2 subs in Tokonami.
Yeah. Agreed.
Giants, org change. You want to live up to that. There's some pressure on you there.
That was former Airwolf?
I mean,
Is that?
yes.
Okay. Which is an APAC team for anybody who's not familiar.
Yeah. So Giants was EU. Rogue bought Giants. Giants bought Airwolf. So now we have NA Rogue is now EU instead, and old Giants EU is now APAC. So yeah. There you go. That's going to be difficult for us as well.
Pete, who are you picking to come out of Group B? Putting you on the spot.
TSM and SSG.
Wow. We both picked the same there. I mean, think about that. We're picking 2 NA teams to come out of a group that features 2 NA, 2 EU. That seems strange.
Upon reflection, it does seem unlikely, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think, just as Ironic was talking about Group D, do you think, and I really don't mean to be disrespectful, but have G2 got kind of fortunate with their group? I mean, it could have been tougher, really.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at the groups, you have to consider that the weakest group. Team Reciprocity is floundering in NA right now. They do not look good at all. I'm sorry, I love the guys on Team Rec, but they have not looked good ever since the U.S. Nationals. They made it to the finals in U.S. Nationals. Ever since then, they have not looked good. Wildcard is an APAC team, and I don't want to bash on APAC here, but the only team that's ever performed well, in my opinion, at LAN out of APAC is if your name's not Fnatic or Nora Ringo, you still have a lot to prove at LAN if you're from APAC, okay? BDS, somebody that's kind of a bad matchup for G2, but at the same time, I mean, that's a Challenger League team last season. You know what I mean? Yes, they're Shaiko. Yes, there's a lot of history between them and G2. But yeah, I mean, you take any other group right here would be tougher for G2, in my opinion, than that one. They are in the easiest group.
I think if I was G2, I'd rather be in another group than that, though, to start with. I'd rather have some of the tough games to start with and not have even a second of assuming that this might be a little easier than the other ones. Because first off, invite spot, they have to prove themselves, or it looks bad, right? They have to do well.
Yeah.
Second off, they've swapped 2 players in the span of 2 months. That's not easy either. Their performance, while it's been getting better now in Pro League, and we know that they are a different team when they show up to Invitational. They have always been, right? They show up strong. They always do. But if they were to get knocked out of Group D, oof,
Yeah.
I don't believe it's going to happen. I really don't.
No.
But that would be the worst, like, story to come out of Invitational is that you have this fallen hero that used to be the ones that won everything. They get invited to something that most would see as the easier group, and then they don't even make it out. I would not want to be in that group. That's too much pressure, man. No, thank you.
I never
Put me into
thought
the
of it
Empire
like
right
that,
away.
yeah. It does add a different dimension, that.
Yeah, because all of a sudden I don't know if that's how they think, but if it was me, I would be more afraid of failing than I would be of not winning, if that makes sense. The difference in those two aspects. The downfall versus we lost against Empire. Right? I wouldn't want that on my shoulders. That's a rough one.
Well, I guess to finish out my picks, from Group C, I'll pick Team Liquid and MIBR, and from Group D, I'll pick G2.
Sorry, before we do our picks, are we putting anything on the line? I'm not involved in Zyronic.
No, it's too late for that. It's too late for that.
All right.
Okay. Group D, I'm going to go with G2. And I know I just talked smack on them, but I'll pick Team Rec. So I'm picking every NA team to come out. I'm such a fool. I'm such a fool. According to me, half of the teams in the final bracket will be NA teams. Yeah, right. Okay. So what are your final two group picks there, Pete?
Let me give it some thought. I'm thinking probably I am going to back G2 to go through, and probably Team Rec, which again, that's already my third. Well, actually, that would be my 1, 2, 3. That'd be my fourth, because I've said Dark Zero, TSM, and SSG, haven't I? I need to think this through. I need to.
I'll stick to mine. I'll put mine on the line.
Yeah. And I think probably Ninjas as well will probably.
So
probably make a good.
Little bit of a side note here. I mean, it's still having to do with Invitational, but moving away from the groups. I believe. I wish I. Don't quote me on this exactly, but I saw a stat from somebody the other day that said that 30% of the Battle Pass revenue will go into the prize pool for the Invitational. I want to say it was 30%. Okay, and that's what I'm not exactly sure on. But yeah, the prize pool last year was $2 million. I don't expect it to go down. So there's a chance. Some people are speculating that the prize pool for Invitational this year could be up to $3 million, which that's insane. I mean, that is insane. And it's also a nice thing. Like whenever you're supporting whenever you're buying cosmetic items in Rainbow Six Siege, you're supporting the esports side of things, at least in some specific examples.
We already have the prize pool.
Oh, do we?
For $3 million.
Okay, that's confirmed.
And as far as I know, I assume it's locked at $3 million, because like there's no point in just having a $50 million tournament or a $20 million, like just it was $1 million last year, right?
So if it's more than that, then the other money will go towards other tournaments.
I assume so. I think this is an important thing for viewers to understand, that the prize pool itself is not that important for the player, right? Because there's only going to be one team who wins the whole thing. And the trophy is more important than the money, because it gives you way more exposure, and it matters more in terms of what you can do as like your org, right? I'm sure that will boost your skin sales as an org, right? Winning. I'm pretty sure we can we can say that's going to happen. And if the first prize is what 1.7, 1.6 or something, probably would probably be like fine. There's going to be one team that wins that, but for every other team, you still have to be able to make a living playing. So you have to have your contracts with your orgs and payment coming in that way. The prize pool is more for us as viewers to look at it and go, damn, this is a big thing. Like, this matters. For the player itself, the money aspect of an event like this isn't as impactful as it is for the viewer. And that goes for every big esport event. The exposure you get and how many eyes you get on you and the title you can carry with you for years to come has just as big of an impact in the long run as that amount of money you get. Especially after, taxes and it's being split 5 ways and everything. Like your monthly salary and all of that is still the main thing. You can't rely on winning. You just can't, because every team's going to lose at some point.
Saying that, though, I wouldn't mind my share of 1.6 million.
No, neither would I.
If I was on the winning team. Oof.
But you can't afford to gamble that amount of money if you end up being the last one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I wonder
if you let me
do
carry
they all
that
get
hammer
something?
around, I might be willing to give up my share to you, Pete. I get to keep the hammer in my house for the whole year.
and I get 1/5 of 1.6 million. Sure, have your hammer.
Well, okay. Fair. Let's think about that. How much money could that bring in, though?
What's that?
How much money could that bring in, though?
The
because
hammer?
telling people I start seriously
having
telling
tours at
people
my
that
house?
you won. Well, no, but telling people that you won $1 million is one thing, but telling people that you won Invitational is different. If you go to a sponsor,
ladies magnet as well. Yeah, I've got a fact
that is true. You get all the girls when you have the hammer.
Yeah.
Well, if you have a big hammer, yeah.
Let's not go there.
No, but if you go to a sponsor, what do you think they look at mattering the most?
Yeah.
Like, they don't care if you won 1.5 mil. If you go to a sponsor asking for 10 mil, you say, listen, we won the single biggest Siege tournament that has ever been there. They're not going to ask you how much money you won. They're asking how many people were watching, right? And funnily enough, you generally have more people watching when there's more money on the line as well, because we care. Like, that's what we all talk about. We go, oh, it's this amount of money on the line. But it is prize pool. It's not first prize, right? And that's a trick that's used for most events, that you always talk about the prize pool, not what does first prize win.
That's a marketing trick as well, right? It's ironic.
But it's smart because it works.
Yeah. Because they use that. So it's something that's been done through time, where you have a product and people look at it and they judge the value of the product by the price in which it's being sold. And literally, there are businesses that operate by that fact, and they put the price up for just a standard product to make it seem as though it's a premium product.
Mm.
If something is usually $20 and this particular product is $75, you think, bloody hell, that's a... So anyway.
Which is why all of our merch is going to be $100 per t-shirt.
Yes.
Yep. But it truly is...
Got nothing on us.
It's being made in one of the best sweatshops in the world.
Yeah, we are going off the rails. I think we better end this before we get demonetized. The entire channel.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, good stuff, fellas. I'm excited for Invitational. Just, I guess, as a scheduling notice, we mentioned earlier, there will not be a podcast next week, as we'll all, the Invitational will be going on. So at least me and Zoronic will be traveling and we'll be busy. As far as the next week, we do plan on bringing an episode the following week. However, it might be a day behind. So normally we like to drop the episode on Wednesday. That week it might be on Thursday. We're still kind of up in the air on that, so stay tuned. We'll make sure you follow us on Twitter, and we'll be having all of our announcements there as far as when the episode will be coming out. But right now we're tentatively scheduling for that Thursday. So with that said, anything else you guys want to add here?
Keep following us on Spotify and SoundCloud, iTunes, all of those platforms. If you weren't aware, we are there. Tell all your friends. And note, if you watch this, but also unusual though it might be, but if you also listen to the audio version, it might be differently edited to remove that quiz, because it's so visual. But other than that, thanks for all the support. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks a ton for listening to us with all our weird stuff. And I think I can safely say that the next episode is going to be worth it.
Yeah.
It might be a little later than the other one, but there'll be some interesting stuff and a lot of SI talk. I'm sure we're going to get a ton of reveals we can talk about after that as well. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that.
All right. Well, with that said, we're going to sign off. We will see you guys here in 2 weeks, and enjoy the Invitational, everybody.
See you later.
Peace.